Every attachment carries a cost, though most people never notice it until the payment is due. At first, attachment feels comforting. It feels like security, like stability, like something to hold onto in a world that keeps changing. We tell ourselves, as long as I have this, I will be fine. But in that very moment, we sign an unseen contract with fear, anxiety, and dependency. The more tightly we cling, the heavier the price we must pay. Consider how attachment works with material things. You buy something new, and in the beginning, it fills you with excitement. You feel proud of it, and for a moment, it even defines part of who you are. But soon, along with the joy, comes worry. You fear losing it, breaking it, or watching it lose its shine. You invest not only money, but also energy, thought, and time into protecting it. What looked like a gift becomes another weight on your mind. The cost is no longer just the purchase. The cost is your peace. It is the same with status or reputation. You work hard, you build an image, and people respect you for it. But once you attach your happiness to that image, the burden begins. You cannot relax because you must always protect how others see you. One mistake, one rumor, or one change in opinion becomes a threat. The more attached you are, the more fragile your happiness becomes, and the heavier the cost you carry each day. Even relationships, which bring love and connection, can become expensive when attachment takes root. Love in its purest form is free, flowing, and unconditional. But when love turns into possession, fear follows. You begin to worry about losing the person, about them changing, about them not fulfilling your expectations. The joy of love becomes tangled with anxiety. Every smile is mixed with the shadow of possible loss. This is the cost of attachment, not because love is wrong, but because clinging transforms beauty into burden. The hidden payment for every attachment is your freedom. The more chains you tie yourself with, the less you can move, the less you can breathe. You think you are gaining security, but what you are really gaining is dependence. And dependence always demands its price. Life will change. Things will pass. People will come and go. When you have put your peace on something temporary, you will always be paying, in fear before it is gone, in pain when it leaves, and in emptiness after it disappears. The truth is simple. You cannot hold tightly to anything without paying with your peace, but you can still live, love, and enjoy without being chained. To see, to touch, to appreciate, and to let go when the time comes. This is freedom. This is happiness without hidden cost. You pay for every attachment. Temporary things demand endless payment because by their very nature, they do not stay the same. The world is built on change. Seasons shift, bodies age, possessions wear down, and circumstances transform without asking our permission. When we attach ourselves to these temporary things, we enter into a cycle of constant maintenance. We spend our energy trying to hold on to what cannot be held, and in the process, we pay with our time, our peace, and our freedom. Think of the material things you own. The moment you acquire them, you begin the process of caring for them. You polish, protect, upgrade, and replace. A car demands fuel, service, and repairs. A house requires cleaning, maintenance, and constant attention. Even the smallest possession, a phone, a piece of clothing, a gadget, requires care, updates, or replacement. There is nothing wrong with having these things, but when happiness is attached to them, the cost multiplies. You do not simply pay once at the store. You keep paying with worry, with attention, with the fear of losing what you believe you cannot live without. The same happens with success and achievements. You work hard for recognition, for status, or for a title. The moment you gain it, joy fills you. But soon it fades, and the fear of losing it arrives. Now you must constantly prove yourself again. You must guard your position, compete with others, and push to stay relevant. Success in the outer world is always temporary. The cost of attaching your peace to it is that you must spend your life chasing and defending something that will one day slip away, no matter how tightly you hold it. Even relationships, when tied to attachment rather than love, create endless payment. People change, and life takes them in directions you cannot control. If your happiness is dependent on them always being the same, always meeting your expectations, then you will constantly be paying with disappointment and fear. Instead of flowing with the natural changes of life, you resist them, and resistance is exhausting. The endless payment comes not only in moments of loss, but in the constant guarding against loss. You pay in restless nights, in anxious thoughts, in the heavy effort of trying to preserve what cannot be preserved. It is like holding water in your hands. No matter how tightly you squeeze, it slips through your fingers. The more you try to keep it, the more you suffer from the attempt. The truth is clear as everything temporary demands endless payment when you attach your happiness to it. But when you learn to enjoy without clinging, to hold lightly instead of gripping tightly, the cost disappears. You can use love and appreciate what life offers without being trapped by it. Then, instead of paying endlessly, you live freely. Temporary things demand endless payment. The moment you attach yourself to something, fear of loss quietly enters. At first, the connection may feel joyful and fulfilling, but underneath, a shadow forms. You begin to imagine what it would mean if that thing, that person, or that situation were no longer there. The stronger the grip, the stronger the fear. You don't only suffer when the loss actually happens. You suffer every single day in the effort of guarding against it. This is the hidden tax of attachment, the constant anxiety of potential loss. Think of someone who builds their identity around wealth. As their possessions grow, so does their fear. Every fluctuation in the market, every unexpected expense, every possibility of decline becomes a source of stress. Even in moments of abundance, they cannot relax because in the back of their mind lies the question, what if I lose it all? The happiness they saw through wealth is overshadowed by the fear of it disappearing. The same pattern appears in relationships. Love in its pure form is expansive, gentle, and freeing. But when it is tangled with attachment, fear begins to poison it. Instead of appreciating the moments you have, you start worrying about what might change. You fear that the other person might leave, that they might love less, or that life might separate you. Instead of deepening the connection, fear tightens your grip, and that very grip suffocates the freedom that love requires to grow. The result is tension, conflict, and insecurity, not because love is wrong, but because attachment transformed it into a battlefield. Even in small things, fear of loss shows itself. A favorite object breaks, and suddenly you feel sorrow out of proportion to the item's value. A routine changes, and you feel unsettled, not because the change is harmful, but because attachment made you dependent. Life becomes fragile because your peace depends on conditions that cannot remain the same. This is why fear of loss is the silent companion of attachment. You don't only pay when life takes something away, you pay every day by living in the shadow of that possibility. Instead of being free to enjoy the present moment, you live in anticipation of its end. And ironically, this fear robs you of the very joy you hope to protect. But when you release attachment, fear loosens its grip. You begin to see everything as a gift, not as something you own. You enjoy without clinging, and because you do not cling, you do not fear the moment it leaves. This shift transforms how you live. Instead of guarding life, you experience it. Instead of fearing endings, you embrace beginnings. The truth is simple: the stronger the attachment, the deeper the fear. And when your happiness depends on avoiding loss, you are already losing. Attachment creates fear of loss. Letting go is often misunderstood as rejection or indifference, but in truth, it is the highest form of freedom. To release attachment does not mean to push life away or to stop caring. It means to participate fully in life, to love deeply, to enjoy completely, but without clinging to the illusion that these things will stay forever. When you let go, you don't lose appreciation, you gain clarity. You begin to see that everything around you is borrowed, flowing through your life like water through open hands. And when you accept this, peace replaces fear. Imagine walking through a garden. You see flowers blooming with bright colors and sweet fragrance. If you try to pluck them all to keep them, they will wither in your hands. The beauty is lost because of your need to hold on. But if you simply admire them where they are, you experience their beauty fully, and you leave with gratitude instead of loss. Life is like this garden. To enjoy without clinging is to walk through with open eyes and an open heart, knowing that every moment is complete as it is. When attachment is released, love becomes pure again. Love without clinging is not less, it is more. It does not demand, it does not bind, it does not make conditions. It allows the other person to be free, and in that freedom, the bond grows stronger. Instead of living in fear of losing them, you live in gratitude for sharing life with them. This kind of love is not heavy, it is light. It does not exhaust, it nourishes. The same is true with possessions and achievements. When you are not attached, you can enjoy them while they last and let them go when they are gone. A car breaks, and you fix it or replace it without despair. A title is lost, and you simply continue your journey without feeling your identity has been stolen. By letting go, you remain steady no matter how the outer world changes. You are not chained to what life gives or takes away, because your peace is not dependent on the outcome. This freedom also brings presence. When you are attached, your mind is either trapped in the past, regretting what is lost, or in the future, fearing what might be lost. But when you let go, you return to the only place where life actually happens, the present moment. You no longer waste energy guarding against loss, and that energy becomes available for living, creating, and appreciating. Letting go does not make life smaller, it makes it fuller. You begin to see more, feel more, and love more because you are no longer distracted by fear. What you enjoy is pure, and what you release leaves without taking your peace with it. This is the quiet strength of freedom. Freedom comes from letting go. Love, when bound by attachment, easily transforms into chains. At first, it feels natural to hold tightly to the people we love, to want them close, to want them to stay exactly as they are. But when love is mixed with fear and possession, it stops being pure. Instead of creating space, it creates dependence. Instead of lifting us higher, it makes us fearful of change. Attachment turns what should be light and flowing into something heavy and suffocating. True love, however, has no chains. It does not demand, it does not trap, it does not try to control. It allows the other to grow, to change, and even to walk away if that is their path. It understands that love cannot be forced and that real connection thrives in freedom. When you love without attachment, you stop fearing loss because you know love is not about owning, but about sharing. It becomes less about what you can take and more about what you can give. Think of a bird in your hand. If you grip it tightly because you are afraid to lose it, you harm it and may even destroy it. If you hold it gently with openness, it may stay with you, not because it has to, but because it chooses to. This is the essence of love without attachment. The more you try to control, the more love slips away. The more freedom you allow, the stronger the connection becomes. Even in families, friendships, or partnerships, attachment often creates invisible chains. We expect others to behave in ways that make us feel secure. We expect them to fulfill our needs, our desires, our definitions of happiness. But in doing so, we do not truly love them. We love the version of them that fits our attachment. When they change, as all humans do, we feel betrayed, not because they did something wrong, but because we tried to make them belong to us. To love without chains means to recognize that nothing in life is permanent. People will evolve, they may grow in different directions, and they may not always meet our expectations. And that is not failure, it is life. When you accept this, you stop clinging to an illusion of control. You can love them fully in this moment without trying to freeze them in time. You can allow them to be who they are, not who you want them to be. This kind of love is powerful because it does not bring fear. It allows both people to breathe, to expand, and to walk together without pressure. It is a love that strengthens rather than weakens because it is rooted not in need, but in freedom. To love in this way is to understand that you are complete within yourself and that love is an addition, not a possession. Love without chains. Every attachment you carry is like weight on your shoulders. Some of these weights are small, almost unnoticeable at first. Others are heavy from the beginning. But whether light or heavy, the more you carry, the slower you walk, and the more tired you become. Attachments are like invisible stones in a bag you take everywhere. Each one represents a possession, a status, a relationship, or even an idea of who you think you must be. And while you may not see the bag, you feel its burden with every step you take through life. The truth is that not all weight is necessary. Some attachments are useful for a time. They may teach you lessons, give you direction, or provide comfort while you grow. But if you never ask yourself whether you should still be carrying them, they turn into chains. Old grudges, outdated ambitions, unrealistic expectations. These are all attachments you may carry long after they have served their purpose. And the cost is that your energy, your clarity, and your freedom are drained by what no longer belongs to your present path. Life requires us to choose carefully what we carry. Imagine climbing a mountain. At the base, you can load yourself with many things: clothes, tools, food, even luxuries. But as the climb becomes steep, every extra kilogram makes it harder to breathe. You realize too late that most of what you thought you needed was only slowing you down. The higher you want to go, the lighter you must travel. Life is no different. The more attachments you hold, the less space you have for growth, peace, and true happiness. Choosing what to carry also means learning to set things down. Sometimes letting go is not about rejection, but about wisdom. You recognize that some weights are not worth the price. You see that carrying them only creates struggle, not strength. And by putting them down, you make space for what truly matters. A free heart is not one that has nothing, but one that chooses carefully, keeping only what nourishes rather than drains. It is important to understand that not all attachments are harmful. Some connections, some responsibilities, and some commitments enrich your life. But even with these, you must remain aware. Are you holding them with open hands or gripping them in fear? Are they helping you walk forward or anchoring you to the past? The answer to these questions determines whether your attachments are blessings or burdens. In the end, the decision is yours. You cannot avoid carrying some weight in life, but you can decide which weight is worth carrying. When you carry with awareness, you walk lighter. When you walk lighter, you see clearer. And when you see clearer, you live freer. Choose what you carry.